Hi everyone, edupreneurs and education business owners. Um, Welcome to today's class. In today's class, we are going to be looking at 21st century qualities and skills of edupreneurs. 21st century qualities and skills of edupreneurs. Of course, we must understand that for businesses, your edu business to be successful, whether you are a startup or whether you have a business already, for it to be successful, there are certain qualities and skills that are needed. All business owners understand this, that without these skills and qualities, there cannot be success as far as business is concerned. So, to you that are aspiring to become entrepreneurs, you have your business idea in view and in life. You must understand that um, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs have certain qualities and skills that distinguish them from others, um, that distinguish them from employers or employees rather. So we are going to be looking at these qualities and skills that entrepreneurs must have in order to um, able to achieve business success, business sustainability, and business profitability. So let's go straight into it. Of course, we must um, understand who an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is an individual who undertake risk associated with creating, organizing, managing, and owning education business. Um, um, Generally, when it becomes business, it has to do with entrepreneur. But in this case now, we are looking at edupreneurs, people who are fully focused in education businesses. Of course, you must understand the fact that um, education business is a growing business in Africa and in Nigeria as a whole. In fact, it is I still put it as upcoming business because most people do not understand the fact that a lot of there are a lot of spaces that is a lot of void that are still in as far as education business is concerned. Why? Because education is a growing sector in Africa and in Nigeria, and of course, uh, entrepreneurs in these sectors are still less when compared to um, other sectors. And of course, much more important is that um, um, the entrepreneurship aspect of education has not been fully explored in the terms of a lot of people are just restricted to being a school owner, just they are just major um, business there, but there are a lot of businesses that are associated with um, education that has not been tapped. However, we are not looking at that today. We are looking at who is an entrepreneur for us to understand what qualities and skill he or she must possess. An entrepreneur is someone who is able to undertake risk. One of the things that highlights entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship generally is risk. Risk. Every business is a risk. When you are starting out, even for those that have started out, and they understand the fact that every business is a risk. You can go into a business making profit, and you can go making losses. So it is a risk. So an entrepreneur is an individual who is ready, able, and willing to undertake this risk. Okay. Now, um, these risks are now associated with creating, number one, organizing, number two, managing, number three, sustaining, number four, I'll add that to it, and owning an education business. Owning an education business. That means that the risk that is associated with you sitting down to create an education business, to organize it into a meaningful enterprise, to manage its daily day-to-day activities, to own it, and to even sustain it. The risk associated with it, an individual who is ready to undertake this risk is called an edupreneur. Is called an edupreneur. Okay, so um, what are skills, um, the skills or characteristics or qualities of a good entrepreneur or edupreneur? What are the qualities and skills of a good edupreneur or entrepreneur? For me personally, because education is um, a creative industry, um, being the fact that for you to be able to successfully, even as an educator or a school owner on its own, it requires being creative, ability to come up with solutions, because there are a lot of educational problems. There are a lot of educational challenges that are facing the African setting, and of course Nigeria as a whole. So being creative top the list for me, because it takes a creative person to be able to identify a problem and create a framework to solve that problem. It takes a creative person to be able to do that. So one of the characteristics of a good entrepreneur is they are creative and innovative. They are creative and innovative. They take innovation. Now, creativity has to do with looking at new ways to solve problems, and then new way to provide needs of the people, provide for the needs of the people. Let me give a typical example. I when I started when I started my um, what's it called, tutorial center. I have, of course, Emerald Edu Concept and Services. Now we have admission center. We have academic center that caters for coaching, um, A levels, all those ones like that. So when I wanted to start, um, I was posted to a particular location, a rural place per se, not rural but semi-rural. Um, and then of course one of the things I observed was that one, the rate at which student fail jam was too much. Second, I also observed that people that were serving students in terms of tutorial center was just one person. And then of course that that is talks about a lot. So the whole place is jam packed, and then you see a lot of students just going for fun of it, and then they are failing year in year out. Okay, so I understand that when I was serving, I took about 6 months to 1 year doing my service here. I was just understanding what was happening within the the place. So I observed that the list, the highest student score then for my research, I'm talking about inquisitive too. For my research was, we had student, the highest was 240, if I can remember very well. So I came to discover that others were having 180, 160, 150, 88. The results were so bad that only less than 5% of the total student population writing jam or exam that year usually pass. And then they keep recycling students every single year. So I felt that since I can solve this problem due to my intellectual capacity, then we could have something related to that. So I came up with a tutorial center that could solve that problem at once. So, and of course, I came up with modalities that make my tutorial center different from the other tutorial center, where people just go and no discipline, they don't cater for them, students behave anyhow, and then of course a lot of things leads to the failures of those students. So an edupreneur is creative. There are a lot of problems, especially in developing countries like Africa and Nigeria, developing continent like Africa and countries like Nigeria. There are a lot of problems on ground. I do tell people this, a lot of problems have not been solved. If you think there are a lot of companies, there are a lot of businesses on ground, the truth of the matter is a company, most of those companies are just solving little fraction of those problems. So there are a lot of challenges and problems that still needs to be solved. So an edupreneur um, takes the initiative is creative enough to look at those problems and say, oh, this is a problem within my environment, within my locality. How can I solve this problem? And then what are the needs of the people? What do they need? So as an entrepreneur, you are looking at what are the problems in the education sector, and even within your locality, how do you come in, and then what are the needs of the people within your locality? It could be the needs of the teachers, needs of the student, needs of parents, needs of schools. So an entrepreneur is creative and innovative, ability to come up with solutions to problem, and an ability to create products, services, or activities that supplies the needs of the people. So creativity, coming up with new ideas and new ways to solve problem. Innovation, creating product or services or activities that meets the needs of the people. So an entrepreneur is both creative and innovative. Another characteristics of an entrepreneur is he or she is inquisitive and curious about things that affect their businesses, that affect their communities. Let me even start with communities. It is the things that affect your immediate community or the education space that you are curious about. Like a person, when I noticed that, I started making a lot of asking a lot of questions from people. Why is it that we have only one tutorial center in this place? Why is it that public school students do not have access to tutorial centers where they can plan? Then why is it that a lot of students are failing? Why is it that we have a good number of schools and that still students are still failing? So those questions were asked, and then I made researches. I found out that the teachers that were teaching them, they did not teach them with jam syllabus. They do not know how to teach with jam syllabus. They do not follow the techniques of how jam is expected to teach them, and a whole lot of things that I made a survey. I made researches. I did the analysis. I come up with a solution. So edupreneurs are people that are inquisitive and curious about things that happen in the education sector. There are a lot of things that are affecting us, a lot of challenges that are affecting us in the education space, even within your locality and generally as a nation in the continent, even at the global level. Lot of challenges to be solved. So an entrepreneur is constantly asking questions about how can these things be solved. They are curious about what is affecting teachers, what is affecting students, what is affecting school owners, what is affecting education sector, what is affecting all stakeholders within the education space. In fact, I when we started with Emerald Edu concept and services, about is it 18 months now? One of the things I wanted to do is that I understand fully that there was a growing growth was happening, fast growth was happening within the continuous professional development space of the education sector, where you now have a lot of organizations that are coming up to that has been set up to provide quality trainings and what's it called for educators, for educators and school owners and that. But I understand one thing that these were not enough, despite the fact that they were much that sector of coaching and consulting and the likes has not been saturated. I felt that we could also come in to also contribute our quota. That is how the coaching aspect of Emerald Edu Concept and Service started, the consulting aspect. So from there, I started asking questions. Which organization has, what are they doing? I understand that most organizations we are focusing on professional development. What about the finances of educators and school owners? What about their personal life, personal development? What about business? What about the digital space? And whole lot of that. So I started making questions, making inquiries and researches on what are some of the problems that we are having, and then of course how could we solve them. So an entrepreneur is inquisitive and curious about things that affect people and stakeholders within the education framework. Okay, now another properties or another characteristics of an entrepreneur, characteristics of entrepreneurs is that they are responsible and responsive. Responsible and responsive, in the sense that an edupreneur is accountable for his or her action and do what is required. And now, one of the things I do tell educate one of the things I notice within the education spaces, most people do not want to venture into edupreneurship, or do not want to take up the responsibility of owning an education business, because they don't want to be responsible. They don't want to be responsible. The pain, the risk, the 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 the, the activities, the stress, and a whole lot of things that accrues from the fact that you are an entrepreneur, they don't want to pass through. Now, while this is their personal decision, also they must know that without being responsible to some of these things, you cannot be a good entrepreneur. And then it there is a time now, like I usually say, the time has come now that educators must understand that they must take part, or they must venture into the business of education. Now, I remember vividly, I was speaking at the conference and I said, every career or every profession has a business side. And top 5% persons that are wise enough also explore the business part and take advantage of it to create wealth. We like I do tell educators, a lot of people complain that teachers are poor and the likes. I said it is not the fault of anyone that teachers are poor. It is because they want to remain pure poor. Now, people say, oh, they should increase salary and the likes. Well, those are part of it. The government should do that, and then the school owner should do that. What if they do not do? Why not take responsibility of increasing your finances and creating wealth for yourself? Then, in that case, an edupreneur must understand that you that are going to entrepreneurship now, you must understand that you must be responsible for the failure and the success of your education business. Be accountable for it. So when this is settled in your mind, you know that whatever you do has a multiplier effect, and you are going to take responsibility for it. So you want to ensure that you do what is required of you per time. Um, um, I remember there was a time our first training, as in our consulting and training sector for Emirate. I I remember that um, somebody was telling me when we did evaluation of that training, that I said, I'm quite tired that we didn't make, a lot of people did not attend and the likes. And then I remember that person told me vividly that you are responsible for it. If people do not attend your training, if people do not pay for your training, if people do not even show interest, you are responsible for it. That means that you have not done some things that are required of you. So I critically I was blaming educators. They have very poor mentality. They don't want to come for training. They don't want to do a lot of this. I was passing blame on them and the likes. But I fail to realize that whether they come for training or not, it is my responsibility. That means there are some things I must do that is required of me for them to attend. And then I must be accountable for the every actions I take for to ensure that I render quality services, and I also attract quality clients. Okay, so entrepreneurs are responsible for their actions, responsible for their strategies, responsible for their goals, responsible for their outcomes, responsible for their results, responsible for what next as part time in their entrepreneurship journey. And then they are also responsible in the sense that they do what is required to achieve the required result. And then again, um, entrepreneurs are goal oriented. You must understand as you journey in entrepreneurship that you must have goals that you are pursuing, and then of course have plans of action. That's one of the things I tell Now, I was saying something the other time. These characteristics we are talking about must also reflect daily their personal characteristics. They are something that you ingrain in your being. Uh, Apart from being an edupreneur, as an educator or an education expert or education person, they must be part and parcel of you. So when you are now coming into business, it does not become something new, because they are part of you. As a person, you must be goal oriented. It's part of the characteristics of people that will be successful, highly effective people. So as an entrepreneur, you must be goal oriented. One, you must have set goals that are required for your education business to succeed, and then you must have adequate plans of actions. You must have adequate plans of action. So it is quite important, and of course you must be goal oriented, focus on those goals, and then of course move ahead. Now, another thing about another characteristics of entrepreneurs is that they are risk taker. They take lots of risk, and the reason why I even leave this as just one thing is that one of these slides is that everything about business is risky. Anyone that is not ready to take risk does not have anything doing in business. Anyone that does not have any business in taking risk, or that is afraid of taking risk, does not have anything to do in business. So it is quite important that as you want to join in entrepreneurship, or you are there, know that there are a lot of risk that you are going to take. That means over time in your personal life, you must have been taking some risk, challenging yourself to take risks that are even higher than you. Because you of course you must understand that they must be calculated risk, they're strategically positioned risk, and then of course there are risks that well calculated, well analyzed, well forecasted, and then of course um, um, meaningful and effective risk that are wise, and then of course that makes sense. So you must be ready to take risk. There are a lot of risk I have taken. In fact, well, not for startups. Um, there are some risks that you're going to take, that sometimes you feel, what if this does not work? You must have it at the back of your mind that whether it works or not, it is worth taking. Whether it works or not, it is worth taking, because whether you take it or not, eh, it depends on if you want to develop, if you want to grow, if you want to succeed in business, you must understand that you must take risk. You must take risk. So this is a major characteristics of entrepreneurs. They take risk irrespective of their fears, irrespective of what people say, irrespective of um, um, the situation surrounding them. They must be ready to take risk. So having said that, another characteristics of entrepreneurs is that they are independent. They are independent. They are able to make decisions on their own. If you are a kind of person that you depend on people to make decisions for you, you are not ready for education business, because in fact education business requires that you must be able to take decisions of your own, because when you see it's a business that is just going up, okay. There are times you fail woefully in some what's it called, there are times when a lot of things that you have planned out will come out of what you are doing does not come out. You do not see any profit. There are times that things do not go the way they're supposed to go. So if you're a kind of person that listen to people, you won't be able to make decisions to continue, and then you won't be even able to take risk again, because of the fear and then because of what people are saying and the like. So entrepreneurs are people that can make decisions on their own without any external influence. They have the mind, they have the capacity, they have built themselves to the extent that although they consult people to have their own opinion, they consult experts, and then of course they make researches and collect correlate knowledge and the likes. However, they are still able to make their own decision as is fit best for the situation at hand. Okay, they are able to make their own schedule, and they are able to work without any supervision. The entrepreneurs are not people that they have to be somebody who have to also come again to supervise you. If you are not supervised, you cannot achieve anything. You are not ready for business. You must, whether you have someone who wants to motivate you or not, whether you have someone who wants to guide you or not, you are independent enough to make your own decision, to create your own schedule and activities of how your business will run, and to work and make efforts and inputs without any supervision. So as an entrepreneur, you must be independent. Then you must be confident. Self-confidence. Entrepreneurs are confident people. They are confident in their own ability, their expertise, their effort, their experience, their skill, their knowledge, their competence to achieve a particular goal. Okay, they have built self-esteem that and self-efficacy such that they are fully confident in that whatever challenges that they are facing, or the challenges they might face, they are confident that they are going to still be successful, and they are going to achieve their business goals and objectives. So if you are not confident in your own capacity, you are not ready for um, entrepreneurship. Okay, so this is quite important for you as an entrepreneur to understand that you must be confident in your own self. If you are not confident even in your services, in yourself, you can't be confident in your service or the product that you are producing, or the services you are rendering. You cannot be confident. So self confidence leads to confidence in the process, confidence in the goals, confidence in the strategies, confidence in the result, confidence in the activities and the services and the products that you are churning out. Okay, so entrepreneurs are people that are confident in their own capacity. Okay, so another one is that entrepreneurs are people that are persistent. Let me quickly talk about these three differently. When I was starting out that tutorial center, um, a lot of people were coming to me that you don't have the experience before, this and that, something like that. That you need people that will supervise your work, and I said no. I have read books. I have trained myself. I have empowered myself enough to be able to work without supervision. Then I made the decision. This was what I was going to do. So a lot of people were coming to me. What risk? If I fail, I fail. And then but because I was confident in my capacity to deliver top-notch um, tutorial to lessons, and then I was confident in my capacity to recruit the best hands to work with me. I said no, this will work. And then I was so determined. The first year, okay, I think when I started the first time, the first 1 month was so tough that I barely had 10 students to come around then. So, but I was determined that we are going to solve these people's problem. The intention was there. The motive was clear that we want to at least contribute our quota, let the student pass, and when they pass, people will see that we really know what we are saying. So we were persistent, we were determined to overcome those problems and challenges. A lot of problems, people were coming that you cannot use that place. People were saying we will not come, your money was this. A lot of challenges were coming up and down. The same thing happens to Emerald Consulting. A lot of challenges were coming at that. Requires, if a person is not persistent, not determined to want to achieve anything, you just give up. So entrepreneurs are not people that gives up. Entrepreneurs are not people that give up. They understand the business goals and objective. They understand the product. They understand the market. They understand the people. They understand the processes. They understand the activity. They understand what it takes to succeed as a business person. And then they are determined to overcome whatever challenges that comes their way. Okay, so these are characteristics of entrepreneurs. Now, it is quite important that as an entrepreneur that you possess these skills. Part of the things we usually recommend is that you think analysis of yourself. I'll talk about it later. These characteristics are important if you want to succeed without having any fault. If you are not if you do not have these characteristics with you, is a one or the other becomes your weakness, and then of course at the long run, if you are a person that is not persistent, on the long run you give up. So these characteristics are interrelated and intertwined in one another. So it is important that you possess all these characteristics. You build yourself, you discipline yourself to create these characteristics in you. They become your properties, your features, and what you carry as a person. So now, if you check every successful entrepreneur, they have this, all these cards. Of course, we could have more, but this is quite. This is these characteristics are very very important. Check whatever whoever is what's it called, and a successful entrepreneur. Talk of Mark Zuckerberg. When people say, "Oh, are you mad or something? How will you be able want to create what's it called?" People were making jest of him and the likes. He was so persistent. And then he was sure of the product he was doing. The same thing happens to Thomas Edison that make light bulb. He failed about 10,000 times, and then of course made the light bulb. And they were persistent. They could take decisions on their own. They won't allow anybody to make decisions for them. They are confident in their capacity to really come up with a product, an idea, an innovation that will solve people's problem. And they know that one day that organizations they are starting will come of age and become the talk of the town. So these characteristics are quite important if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Now let's quickly talk about skills. Now we've looked at the characteristics, the features that when they see you, when they see you, they say, oh, this person is independent, this person is confident, this person is persistent, and a whole lot of that. They could see those characteristics all around you. You are showing them daily. However, characteristics are not enough. You have to be skillful as an entrepreneur. It is your skill that determines how work will be done. Your qualities sustain your business. Your skill make the business happen in the first instance. Without skill, nothing can happen. Without qualities, nothing can continue. Please get that too. Without skill, nothing can happen. Without qualities, nothing can continue. You need skill to make sure that what is it called? Your business processes and your business come to fruition. All processes, all steps, all stages, all activities of an edupreneur require skills. And if an edupreneur do not have those skills, the processes will not go, and then of course nothing will happen. But even if the edupreneur has now gotten those skills and things are going fine, an edupreneur needs these characteristics to be able to sustain what is going on. So you must possess qualities and you must possess skill. So what are the skills that is required to succeed for an edupreneur? Now, number one of them is leadership skill. An edupreneur must possess leadership skill. Now, of course, a leader is someone who is able to influence people towards a particular goal. In your journey as an edupreneur, you are going to be needing people. In fact, as edupreneur, you are doing what you are doing for the people, and then you are also going to need people to do what you are doing for the people. You are doing what you are doing for the people, and then you are going to need people to do what you are doing for the people. So that requires that you possess leadership skill needed enough to lead your organization, your startup, to achieve whatever goals that you have set. Some of the leadership skills that you need organizing skill, ability to put things together, ability to put things in place, to make things go the way they are supposed to go, put things in order. If an edupreneur is not organized, activities cannot be organized, processes cannot be organized, and then when they are not organized, you get an unorganized result. So it requires that you are organized, you have organization skill, ability to put things in order, skill that is required to put things in order. Then you must also have management skill like planning, delegation, supervision, analyzing, reporting, and so on. Then you must be able to manage people, manage resources, manage change, manage conflict within your team. Don't forget, leadership skill focuses majorly on leading people and leading yourself. Okay, so of course we have settled that as an edupreneur, of course you might start up with you yourself alone, you alone taking up with the work, but as you go on in the journey of your edupreneurship, you are still going to need people. Even if you are the only one working with it, you still going to need people to work in one way or the other, whether as volunteer or the likes, for you to be able to achieve what you want to achieve faster. So leadership skills are required to be able to lead people to do what you want. Okay, so and you must be able to manage people, changes, resources, conflict very well. Management skills are very, very important. And then coaching skill, your ability to coach people, to motivate them, to model what they are supposed to do, to mentor them, to train them to be able to perform well, is also needed as a leader. So as an edupreneur, you are an effective leader. So an edupreneur is expected to be an effective leader. And then to be an effective leader, you must have effective leadership skills, which are organizing skill, ability to put things in order, management skills, ability to make things happen within within time frame, manage people, coordinate them, administer, ability to coach, train up people, mentor people, motivate people for optimal performance, and then of course ability to strategically think and plan. Strategic thinking and planning is a strong leadership skill. Ability to say this is where we are going, ability to think of the future. You visualize the future, you think of the future, the vision, the mission, the major definite goals, the objective, the long time goals, the short term goals, the medium term goals, ability to strategically think about them and come up with a plan so that people can run with those plans is a strong leadership skill that an entrepreneur must have. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, you are a people person, and then you are a leader and plan. Okay, then again, um an entrepreneur is an effective communicator. An entrepreneur is an effective communicator. He or she is able to communicate well. In fact, communication is communication is the lifeline of business. In the sense that if you are not able to communicate your ideas, you are not able to communicate your plans, your activities and the likes, nobody will buy into it. If you are not able to communicate your product, how your product is, you are not able to communicate your service, no communicate what your vision, your mission and the likes, then nobody will buy into it, whether they are buying into it as a team member or as clients or as customers. So you are an entrepreneur is an effective communicator. Then in terms of communication now, an entrepreneur must have presentation and public speaking skill. That's number one. Ability to speak in public, present ideas, innovations, and products in a in an effective business life and compelling way that makes people to buy into it. I this is one of the reasons why a lot of people are not um, successful in education business and in business generally, because they are not able to um, um, communicate or express themselves. Then if you do not express yourself, how will people know what you do? How will people know about your ideas? You want an entrepreneur must be able to say, oh, this is what we do, this is how we are doing it, in a way that people will say, oh, now I see what you are doing. Okay, so ability to speak, to present ideas, to talk, analyze, to pitch is an effective skill an entrepreneur must have. Then ability to write, effective writing, strategic writing is also important. An entrepreneur must know how to write plans, how to write proposals, how to write schedules, etc. If you want to do a program, you want to do a project, of course you will need proposals and other technical writings. So you must be able to write them in such a way that people buy immediately into it. So your creative writing, your strategic writing, your business writing must be top notch. Then an entrepreneur must also be a listener, a good listener, because you are working with people. Then you must have the ear of listening to people. If you cannot listen to people, you won't be able to get effective feedback, and then you are not a good conversationalist. And then if you are not a good conversationalist, there is no way you can communicate effectively with people. So you must be a very good listener, a very good writer, and a very good speaker. As an entrepreneur, you must be an effective communicator. And these three communication aspects are very key. They are very key skills for you. Okay? Like I've said the other time, you are relating with people. So in that case, you need to have human relation skills. Skills, or we call it interpersonal skills. Skills required to relate with people at all levels, in all places, at any time. Now that requires that we talked about number one, ability to collaborate with people is a good human relationship skill. As an entrepreneur, there will be need for partnership, there will be need for collaboration with other people in order to achieve your goal. Nobody is an island, so you need to be able to collaborate across the board. You need to be able to network with business like people, network with people that are doing well in the business space, network with business owners, network with edupreneurs, network with people that are coming up, network with people that are already there, network with people across the globe. You need to be able to network with people that are with people, clients, customers, business owners, edupreneurs like yourself. So you need networking skills, you need collaborative skill, you need social interaction skills, ability to interact effectively across all social platforms, the social skills. You need it. Okay? And then of course you need leadership skills. So an edupreneur is an effective human relator, an effective human relation expert. So human relation skills are needed for you to be successful. And then of course, quite very important, the business skill. An edupreneur must be skillful in business. Must be skillful in business. Um, Number one has to do with finance and economy. And an entrepreneur must understand how education business is being financed, how the finances are being managed, and the economics of education business. You must understand how the economy works. You must understand how the economics of business in education is, the finances that involves, and all others. You must have this skill, the financial skill, ability ability to make good judgments in terms of finance and the economy of a business. you must have sales and marketing skill. A an edupreneur is a sales and marketing expert. You are the first person to sell and market your product. If you cannot sell and market your product, nobody will buy into it. And then any product or service that is not selling is as good as dead. So as an entrepreneur, you must have sales and marketing skills, ability to sell your product and services, convince people, negotiate, persuade people, and then of course market your goods and services in a way that people will want to buy every single time. Okay, so and then another skill that you must have is arithmetic and mathematics skill. And if you are not good in maths, you don't have anything doing in business, and that is just the truth of the matter. On even if you employ people to want to work for you, you still need to have a good knowledge of numbers, because you are going to be dealing with figures, with numbers. We are going to be dealing with arithmetics, mathematics, in terms of your finance, in terms of your projections, and in terms of profits, in terms of decision makings and the like. So your basic arithmetic and mathematics skill must be top notch. And of course, in terms of business skill, you must be innovative and creative enough to solve problems. So these are skills that you need as an edupreneur. So generally we are talking about a lot of the four major skills that you need: the leadership skill, the communication skills, the human relationship skill, and the business skills. These skills are quite important if you want to be successful as an edupreneur. Okay, so having said that, how do you develop these skills and qualities? How do you develop these skills and quality? Number one, start evaluating yourself. Evaluate yourself and get feedbacks from people. Now, we have mentioned a whole lot of skills, write them out. We have mentioned a whole lot of qualities, write them out. And then evaluate yourself. Which and which do you have? Which and which do you not have? Which and which are on the average? Which and which are non-existent? Which and which are very good? Okay? Evaluate yourself. If it involves getting one or two persons that you trust to also give you feedback, do you think I have am I a good communicator? Do I communicate well? Am I creative enough? Get feedbacks from people. Also have a business expert that you know. Let them analyze you, your characteristics, your qualities, and your skill. Let them analyze you and see some of the things that you have. Of course, when you have positive feedbacks, it helps you to plan well. Okay, you need evaluation and feedbacks to be able to really know how to develop these skills and quality. Number two is, after you have evaluated yourself and gotten feedbacks, then set goals and strategies. Set goals in order to achieve, in order to create or develop these qualities and skills. Set goals in order to create this. It is quite important for you. Okay, so set quality goals and strategies to achieve this. Set quality goals and skills in order to achieve this. They are quite important. They are quite important. Okay, so it is important for you to understand this. And then another thing is mentorship and coaching. Okay, so take mentorship, get business owners and experts that are that are good mentors. Okay, that can mentor you. Nobody is an island of knowledge, and most especially when you are starting up, you need to be mentored. People that have been successful in business need to come into play, and then of course watch the way they are doing their things, analyze the qualities and skills that they have. So let them mentor you, let them model for you to see. Let them mentor you, let them monitor you, and then of course get coaches to train you on skills and qualities. Invest in coaching. Get coaches. So get mentors and get coaches. Two things I've mentioned: get mentors and get coaches. Mentors put you through, coaches train you. Okay, they train you to have certain qualities and skill that you need to be successful. Number four is Get trainings and continuous education. And a good edupreneur is someone that continually educates himself or he herself to be able to continue, because you need to train, retrain, learn, relearn, and unlearn to achieve to reach some certain skills. Of course, there are core skills, number one, and then of course there are soft skills. Then there are levels to skillfulness and qualities. Okay, now for instance, if I'm a good communicator, I might be at the amateur at the level, at the primitive level, or at the average level. That does not mean I'm an expert communicator already. So I need to continue to train myself to become an expert communicator. Okay, so skills and qualities have levels. That's why it is required that you train yourself and continually educate yourself in order to improve on the levels of on the levels in which each of the skills and qualities are. Okay, and then finally, ensure that business networks and connections are important. So you need groups, you need association, professional bodies, for that are related to education business, and then to join. This will motivate you to continue to develop skills and qualities. When you see other persons that are doing well, and then you want to see how they are doing, the qualities that they have and the skills that they have, so it helps you. So these are ways by which you can develop your skill and your quality. So it is quite important. So becoming an edupreneur is a long journey, and like I've said, qualities or skill makes the work to be done. Qualities sustain the work that has been done. Okay, and you need both to be successful as an edupreneur. So make effort to start developing your skills and your qualities. I wish you a successful journey as an educator.